What if reality isn't what you think it is? Not in a philosophical, abstract way. I mean literally. What if the world you experience every day, the problems you face, the limits you bump up against, the patterns you can't break, none of them are actually solid? What if reality is a system, a game, and you've been playing it without knowing the rules? Most people live their entire lives assuming reality is fixed. They wake up, they react, they try to change things on the surface while the underlying structure stays exactly the same. They push against walls that don't move. They repeat the same patterns, expecting different results. They get frustrated when life doesn't cooperate. But here's the uncomfortable truth. Reality is not solid. It's responsive. It's a feedback loop that reflects your consciousness back to you. And once you understand that loop, you can outsmart it. Let me explain how this works. Think about a video game. When you first start playing, you don't know the rules. You bump into walls. You die in places you didn't expect. The game feels random and unfair. But as you learn the patterns, as you understand the system, the game becomes easier. You start anticipating. You start seeing opportunities where you only saw obstacles before. You're not fighting the game anymore. You're playing it with knowledge. Reality is the same. The apparent rules are not as fixed as they seem. The walls are not as solid. The limits are not as real. They appear solid because you've assumed they are. Your assumption creates the experience. And your experience confirms the assumption. It's a closed loop. Here's the mechanism. You have a belief about how things work. That belief determines what you pay attention to. What you pay attention to determines what you perceive. What you perceive determines what you experience. And what you experience reinforces the original belief. Belief creates perception. Perception creates reality. Reality confirms belief. So if you believe the world is hostile and unfair, you will notice evidence of hostility everywhere. You will perceive rejection, betrayal, and disappointment. You will experience a hostile world. And that experience will prove you were right all along. The loop is self-sustaining. But here's where it gets interesting. If the loop can work against you, it can also work for you. You don't have to be trapped in the loop. You can step outside it. You can change the belief at the center of the loop. And when you do, everything else follows. This is what I mean by outsmarting reality. You're not fighting reality. You're not denying it. You're understanding how it works and using that understanding to change your experience. You're playing the game with the cheat codes. So how do you actually do this? How do you outsmart a system that feels so solid? First, you start questioning your assumptions. Not all of them at once. Just pick one. One area of your life where you keep hitting the same wall. One pattern you can't seem to break. And ask yourself, what must I believe for this to be true? This is the key question. What must I believe for this situation to exist? The answer is rarely obvious, but it's always there. If you keep attracting the same kind of partner, what must you believe about yourself? If you keep hitting the same income ceiling, what must you believe about what you deserve? If you keep failing at the same endeavor, what must you believe about your own capability? Once you identify the belief, you have something to work with. You don't have to change it overnight. You just have to see it clearly, to notice how it's been running the show, and to start collecting evidence that contradicts it. Second, you shift your attention. Where your attention goes, your energy goes. And where your energy goes, your reality follows. If you're constantly focused on what's wrong, you will find more of what's wrong. If you focus on what's possible, you will find more possibility. This isn't toxic positivity. This isn't ignoring real problems. This is strategically placing your attention where it serves you. The loop works in your favor when you intentionally choose what to observe. You're not pretending. You're redirecting. And redirection changes the loop. Third, you act as if the new belief is already true. Not pretending. Not forcing. Just practicing. You make small choices from the perspective of someone who already knows the new reality is possible. You don't wait for evidence to change. You create evidence through action. This is how the loop flips. When you act from the new belief, you generate new experiences. Those experiences become evidence. That evidence strengthens the new belief. and the loop starts working for you instead of against you. Fourth, you question the rules entirely. This is the real Outsmart. You start asking, is this actually a rule? Or is it just something I've assumed? Is this wall real? Or is it just something I've been told? Is this limit external or is it internal? The most powerful shift is realizing that many of the rules you're following were never actually written. They were inherited, absorbed, assumed. They were never tested. You can test them. You can challenge them. You can find that many of them dissolve under scrutiny. The game is not as fixed as it appears. The maze has gaps. The doors are not all locked. Some doors were never locked at all. You just assumed they were. Let me give you a thought experiment. Imagine you woke up tomorrow and the thing you've been struggling with was suddenly easy. Not because the universe changed. Not because someone fixed it for you. Just because you saw it differently. You understood the game differently. You saw the cheat code. What would that feel like? How would that change the way you approach today? How would that shift the way you see yourself? That feeling is available to you, not by magic, by understanding, by recognizing that reality is not fixed, by seeing that the lock on the door is your own assumption, and you are holding the key. You are not a victim of reality. You are a participant in it. You are actively shaping it whether you realize it or not. The only question is whether you're shaping it consciously or unconsciously, whether you're playing the game asleep or awake. So here's what I'm asking you to consider. Stop treating reality as something that happens to you. Start treating it as something you participate in. Learn the rules. Find the gaps. Question the assumptions. Flip the loop. Outsmarting reality doesn't mean escaping it. It means understanding it so deeply that the limitations you thought were solid become permeable. It means recognizing that the game was never as locked as you thought. And once you see that, you can't unsee it. Once you know the loop, you can't pretend you don't. And that knowledge changes everything. The system is hackable. Not because you're breaking it, because you're understanding it. And understanding is the ultimate cheat code.